Hi, welcome to the second week of your pre-lead experience and to webinar one of the videos. I am Gina Truman, and I am blessed to be the leader of the Truman team. I have also been very blessed to work with some amazing diamond leaders and above on our team, some of whom you will meet during this webinar series. One leader in particular, you already are familiar with, and that's Tamara Bartmus. I want to say a huge thank you to Tamara because she is the brain behind the pre-lead program and has put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this and making this available for everyone to use as a mentoring system. Tamara is who came to me about 2 years ago after we did the original 6-week webinar series for our team and asked if we could do a training based around these videos. And now this system that she based around these videos has turned into an incredible mentoring system that if anyone follows, internalizes, and executes, there is only success. Every one of the leaders you'll meet the next few weeks on these webinars have one thing in common, and at some point or another, we've all wanted to give up, felt like we weren't doing enough, aren't enough, being enough, or whatever. If you're going through that, just know that we have been in your shoes. We have been where you are right now. That is why we are working together, and that is why we are wanting to see you succeed, because we have seen success in our lives. I look at the women that are on this webinar with me today, and I've seen them grow in their businesses. I've seen them grow personally and their families. I love, love, love all the things that we have learned on our doTERRA journey. And I will introduce each one of them in just a minute. So one thing that we have had in common when we first started doTERRA, I will never forget the first time I taught a class. I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? And I'm sure all of you have felt this too. You're like at that point, you're like, oh my gosh, can I do it? What if I don't know enough? What if I don't know how to teach. I don't know how to educate. I don't know enough about the oils. Stop right there. I can't. Don't cut the apron strings upline or person who brought me into doTERRA. Please, please, please help me and hold my hand all along the way. But at that point, we have to like let go, breathe it all in, grab your favorite calming blend or oil, breathe it in, and know that everything is going to be okay. Better than okay. Because it's going to happen. Everything is going to come together. And guess what? If it doesn't, it's okay. So we've all had these thoughts as it has gotten closer to our classes. We were thinking, what are we going to do? So before we start talking about our topic of this webinar, I want to talk about your commitment to doTERRA. So if you're at the point of listening to these webinars, then you have taken the first few steps towards getting closer to your goal. Good for you. Good for you. May I suggest one thing as you continue moving forward? The biggest secret of all is to never, ever, ever, ever give up. And I'm sure you've heard that. Just keep focused, keep working, and keep working on yourself and taking that time for yourself. As you move forward, I challenge you to be that 20% that shows up, because that's huge. Just showing up. It's like that whole thing, you know, must be present to win. You've got to be present in your business. You've got to be there. You've got to show up. You're showing up right now. And that's a huge step. Another secret to success is making some sacrifices. You have to. That's all there is to it. I look at these women that are on this webinar with me today, and you'll meet more amazing women throughout these next 6 weeks. All of them are mothers. All of them have gone through trials and tribulations throughout their doTERRA journey, but they have showed up and they have made sacrifices. And I know sometimes they've had many excuses, but we have to give up the excuses. That's one of my big things lately, because guess what? There are no excuses. There's always a solution. So I was once in your shoes, not knowing for sure what I was doing, and I even lacked a little in confidence. I remember the very first class, like I said, it was about a month after doTERRA first started. My brother Boyd Truman and his wife Sandy and I lived in the same little town in southern Utah, about 4 hours from doTERRA corporate. doTERRA had just started and we wanted to hit the ground running. So after a few booths all over the US in the first month or two, like we sacrificed, we took Boyd and Sandy's kids, my sister Rhonda joined us on this. We went all over and we were doing booths and it wasn't being very productive. So we backed off a little bit and we said, you know what, we haven't even hit our warm market back at home. So we decided it was time to focus where we lived and do a party of our own, where we could introduce doTERRA, teach everyone about these amazing oils. You can call it a class, a party, a meeting, a one-on-one, or whatever it was. For us, we wanted to call it a party. Then as we started planning for this first party and as it got closer, I got more and more nervous because it's not my forte to put myself in front of people. I like to be in the background. And I thought, yeah, I got to get out of my comfort zone. So I started having all these questions coming up. I'm like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? What invitations are we going to make? How are we going to make them? How many are we going to give out? Who are we going to invite? What are we going to say? What was I going to say? What if they asked me questions and I don't know the answers? What information were we going to hand out to everyone? What impact did we want to leave? How many drops of peppermint do you put in a brownie mix? Yes, those were valid questions. Even that last one, I'll give you the answer to that one. It's 8 drops. Okay, so all of these questions will be answered here along these next few minutes. Okay, so however did you think about these questions as you've started talking about doing your first class or two? Come on, I know you've been a little bit nervous. I know, it's okay. It is okay. These questions will be answered, and you will hopefully, by the end of listening to these wonderful women, you will feel more at peace, and you will be able to take little nuggets of information and apply them as you move forward. So the first step to any successful event, whether large or small, are the invitations, or how you invite. You know, I remember when we were first started, we were on a very tight budget. So we had to hand make our invitations. We had to hand make our little handouts, but we kept it simple. We kept it real simple. And that's what you've got to do. Just keep it simple. We went to our different neighborhoods, our friends, our family. I think we handed out about 150 invitations. And we only ended up having 23 there. We thought we were going to have like 50 or 60 people. We ended up with 23, which we were happy about because a lot of those people are doing this journey with us today. And Natalie Rigby is one of those, not from that original class, but that was a fun story there. I don't know if she'll be sharing it. So I want to share some quick do's and don'ts, but before I do, about invitations. When we first started, we didn't have anything to look on. We couldn't Google doTERRA invites. Now you can. It's simple. Just go to Google and put in doTERRA invitations or invites. You'll have so many options, and these are just a few. One of these, though, on the left is from an amazing platinum leader on our team, Laura Jones. That's just something I happened to see on the internet, and I grabbed it just to show you what could be done, just to give you some ideas. And some of these you can use on your own and you can download, or you can make your own. It's so simple. Okay, so here's some do's and don'ts. First, do not be overwhelmed about your invitations and about your party. Don't worry about perfection. Don't overthink who to invite, and don't assume everyone you invite will show up. Remember how I said our first party, we gave out 150 invitations. We had 23 people show up. We have found, and let me know if you guys that are joining me, you women, if this is any different. I found that it's usually somewhere between 10 to 20% of those you invite will actually show up. It's more towards the 10% side. So if you want to have 10 people at a class or a party, then invite 100. If you want to have 5 people, then invite 50 people. That's kind of the direction we've been going as we've moved forward with invites and such. So here's some do's. Do keep it simple. Do make it personal. And the way you can make it personal is by personally inviting them. Do have all the details listed on the invitations, you know, the time, the address, a little bit about what it's going to be. And do make reminder calls and texts. Just not calls, but maybe one call and a text the day of, just to remind them about your event. And it's always fun to offer a free gift. Remember how I said I was super nervous at our first class? You know what? It's okay if you have to grab a 3x5 card or use your phone with notes on it, whatever it is. grab it. I remember standing there the first 3 classes that I did, and I had to use those 3x5 cards with my personal bullet points on there of what to say and how to say it and all of that. It's totally okay. And this was the first handout on the right, this little Dr. Mom booklet. That was our homemade handout that we used for almost 3 years. And I think 2 of these Blue Diamond leaders on this call used this too along with us. And they came in really handy. But now doTERRA has so much great information and so many amazing handouts. And that's kind of up to you what you use. But remember to keep it simple. Some people wonder, what do I take? How do I set up? You don't have to do this this monstrous presentation with beautiful, ice sculptures and tablecloths and everything like that. Again, you want to keep it simple because someone watching you might be teaching a class of their own someday, and they'll want to say, oh, I can do what she just did. This is literally what I take when I do a class, just a basic class. I take my diffuser, I use my blend Citrus Bliss, that's what I love to diffuse. I love peppermint too. That's the first one I pass around, and I talk about the 3 ways of using our oils. I have my past tense, which is what got me first introduced to the oils, was the migraine blend, which helps my migraines. I use the basic Family Essentials kit, and then I talk about the Lifelong Vitality. That is literally what I use every time I do my first class, a basic class for anyone new. When I went to China last year, this is what I did, like every day. I taught the same class. So back to moving forward. 3 important things you got to remember. First, facts tell, stories sell. I know there's people out there that love the facts. And I know Natalie Rigby's one of them. And she loves it when you start telling the facts. Right, Natalie? But there's a lot of people that enjoy the stories. And for me, I'm a story girl. But for me, I know my story best. So tell your story, share your story. It's your most powerful asset. Use it. And remember that education is the #1 key to success, because the more you share and educate about doTERRA, the more everyone will start understanding the oils, whoever you're sharing with. The more they understand the oils, the more they will want to use them. The more they use them, the more they'll naturally start sharing. And then number 3, the oils naturally sell themselves. So take the cap off and let everyone experience the oils, whether you're doing a one-on-one or whether you're in a party or a class atmosphere. Get your oils out and share. Even in the airplane, even if it's not a class or a meeting, use your oils and be a product of the product.